The following video is brought to you by the guys at the Wrecking and Racing Podcast, a NASCAR podcast made by the fans for the fans. Check them out at www.wreckingandracing.com, facebook.com/wreckingandracing, and Twitter at Wrecking and Racing. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Saka here, and welcome back to another episode of NASCAR Racing 2003 season. This week, we're at the Tricky Triangle in Pocono, a 2.5-mile triangle with only 3 turns instead of 4, each turn modeled after a different racetrack. And as you can see by our qualifying effort, we didn't do too well in qualifying. The car just doesn't seem as fast as the others, but we'll see what we can do today. We're starting behind the 21 of Paul Menard, and we have Casey Kane down there to our inside. So we don't normally race with Menard and Kane. Brandon is 2 rows in front of us there in the wreckingandracing.com Camaro. Right in front of Paul Menard. We'll come off the flat turn 3 and take the green flag. One thing about this front straightaway, it is very wide and very fast. There's a lot of room to maneuver around, and let's put that to good use. Pace car is in, green flag is in the air. Let's get going. We got a pretty good run up here through the gears, really tall gears here. Can we make the bottom work? No, we'll follow Paul Menard on through. Actually, we'll see if we can put him 3 wide here. Oh, we push up just a little bit out of the groove, have to put a lot of wheel into this thing to turn. We should get a good run down the Long Pond Straight, car parts flying all over the place. We can shoot the middle right here between Stenhouse and Almirola and get into turn 2, which is modeled after Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So my favorite turn here at Pocono, and we set up for the very slick and slow turn 3. This was before they put down that grip strip down at the bottom. As you can see, it's all one color down there, and it's not that conducive for grip. We're starting to slide up here. We can get a good run, just a touch on Almirola, and see if we can get the drive off. We'll be able to clear him and draft Brandon up. See if we can get to the inside of AJ Allmendinger before turn 1. We can go pretty hard into turn 1. There's some banking there to support us, but it's really slick on the bottom. You can see the car washing out. I have a ton of wheel into it. We need to stay off AJ. He is still up there, and that killed our forward momentum off the turn. Ideally, of course, you want to complete your passes in the middle of the turn so you can get to that wall and carry all that speed. Speaking of carrying speed, we did a decent amount of speed carrying there. Brandon on the inside of Eric Jones in that 20 Toyota. Let's see if we can follow him on through. No, car washing out really bad. Jones washes out a bit though. We might be able to get him here. Almirola makes a charge and gets in line. Now we can get a big draft pull down this front straightaway for sure, and we should be able to set up nicely. Engine is screaming into the red zone here. We'll be on the inside of Almirola, but will we be able to complete the pass? We won't be sure. Almirola gets a drive center off, but we get a little bit better. We'll be side by side going into turn 2, and this is exactly where we want to be. We should be able to complete this pass on Almirola going into the turn here, if he doesn't fight back. He is fighting back on the high side in that tunnel turn. Very slick. We couldn't get the power down enough, and battling hard going into turn 3. They seem to drive a whole lot harder in turn 3 and then basically stop on a dime when it gets to corner entry, and that just upsets my car way too much to do. So it looks like we'll settle behind Almirola here and take our time. 20 laps in this race. A fuel run is maybe lap 12 or so. So we can split this race pretty much in half, take 4 tires. No real strategy to play this week as far as pit stops are concerned. Cars are starting to single file out now, and those leaders are going to start tearing away, and they were already 1 to 2 seconds faster than me in qualifying. So I don't know if we'll be able to make up any ground on those leaders, but we can try to pass Eric. He's definitely difficult. Has a pretty poor entry into turn 2. We were way too low, couldn't carry any of that speed out. We lost a ton of ground there, and just like Indianapolis, if you approach the turn too low, you just wash out and carry no speed. Brandon washed out there on the exit of turn 3, we'll be able to get behind him. Maybe even make a pass here. We've got a pretty big run. Let's get around Brandon here, and one thing I'm feeling comfortable with is Brandon isn't leaving me in the dust, so it's not just me. We're running pretty close to identical setups, and just the car will not pivot. 90 degrees of wheel, and we're still sliding up the track. Turn 1, you have to be very patient. You can't get back on the gas too quickly, because if you do, you wash out really, really fast. All right, inside of turn 2, a much better angle on entry there. We can get on the inside of Almirola once more. I tell you, this is the hardest fought 20th place I've ever done. Everyone in front of us is pretty much single filed out, though. We drove in really hard in turn 3 trying to clear him. He's still on the outside, though. Oh, well, he's, I don't think he's out there now. So kind of a little of a body check. Eric Almirola trying to complete the pass. I can't imagine he's too happy with that, but you know what? We're faster than him. All right, a better turn 1 there. You have to really wait to get in the throttle, and believe it or not, the left side tires take more of a beating than the right side. It's like the car wants to just continue pushing out, and the left side tires are trying to hold the car to that inside groove. Not so much on the right front, as we aren't really driving in hard, so the left sides will wear more than the rights. Eric Jones, though, putting Kyle Larson up to the top. I was hoping we'd be able to capitalize, but they get such a good run off of the turn that we're not able to close. We might be able to close up here on the straightaway, stay within the tire tracks of Kyle Larson, and get this engine really screaming here. We're within shooting distance of this group. If something were to happen, we could definitely make a charge if a crash were to happen in that group in front of us. But Pocono is known for long green flag runs. Everyone gets spread out, as you can see, and when cars are running by themselves, they don't tend to wreck too often. Yeah, much better turn 2 here for us. As long as we can stay within drafting range of Kyle Larson, we should be all set. But as you can see, the left side tires are really cooking. They're in the yellow zone as far as temperature is concerned, and it's 105 degrees here in Pocono. So not a typical Pocono temperature, I would have to say. Of course, the higher temperature you have, the less grip you have in the tires, the hotter the engine runs. And with these long straightaways, you want to run the car as taped up as you can, but the engine is very prone to overheating, especially when it's over 100 degrees outside, not to mention the ambient track temperature. Much better turn 1, but I just can't seem to carry any speed off. If you have to check up in the middle of the turn, that just hurts that entire long pond straightaway. But a better turn 2. And we're sort of holding station here with Kyle Larson. We might be able to make some moves on pit stops, but 4 tires is definitely going to be the name of the game. So we can't do any strategy as far as 2 tires are concerned to make up any spots without compromising our left sides. There's a good chance that if we didn't change our left sides, they will probably blow. All right, car to the inside. Looks like Brandon is making that pass down to the bottom there. Now, if Brandon can open up a hole in front of Larson, well, Brandon slides up the racetrack. We'll do the yield crossover maneuver, and we'll clear him off that turn. So a little bit of diciness, a little bit of excitement here, considering how we're pretty much single file and so is everyone else. We'll be looking to pit here in a couple laps time, split this race directly in half. We want to be mindful of these AI cars. If they decide to pit in the next couple laps, they will be on the left side of the track, and we'll need to avoid them. So running pretty consistent lap times. Times have fallen off a bit thanks to the tire wear on these left side tires. We aren't able to make the cut. But we're holding the bottom pretty well there. Nope, we're washing out really badly. A lot of wheel into it, scrape the wall. Yeah, don't repair the damage. We can't afford to do that. If we're pitting under green and we have a right side damage to fix, that would just put us tremendously behind. Now, if a caution were to come out, we would definitely repair the damage and get ourselves reorganized here. It looks like they may be pitting. They are seeming to slow up here. We could probably go around one more time, and indeed cars are heading to pit road. We'll go ahead and stay out here for one more lap. See if we can come to pit road quicker than they can. If they're bottlenecking each other and they're taking each other's lanes, they're going to be slower. So if we can have a smooth pit road entry and exit, we might gain some time there on pit road. And even though we didn't pit, we're still running in 5th. But yes, we will definitely be coming down this time. Tires are screaming. We've lost about 1.5 seconds off our pace on these old tires, so 4 tires are going to be the name of the game. And we'll probably be pitting with some of these other cars who chose to stay out. Probably these guys in front of us, and luckily they will be far enough ahead that they won't be messing up our pit road entry. Our pit stall is right in front of the pylon, the scoring tower, so we'll just take a look for it and look to the left-hand side. Down to pit road speed here, pretty much a straight shot, 4,000 in second gear. We'll be looking to our left here. Brandon will go around us, and 4 tires and fuel, boys. Here we go. Rights and lefts on. Nice windshield tearaway. I tell you, you don't realize how dirty your windshield is until you get a tear off. Then you realize what you were going through. 4,000 in second gear. The end of pit road is right here. We'll be getting back up to speed and rejoining the race here on lap 12. So 8 laps to go for us. We'll see where we blend in the grand scheme of things. And once we get off turn 1, we'll be back up to speed. And Austin Dillon looks like he will be our first car for position. Scraping the wall, but it's already damaged. Who cares? All right, car looking to the inside, trying to make a move. That's Brad Keselowski on the inside of the tunnel turn here. Let's see if we can get good drive off with these tires. We might have a little bit fresher tires than he does. We might be able to make some better moves, but Brad has the inside going into turn 3. And we'll see if we can carry this speed out of the turn. And if anything, we'll be able to get some drafting off of Brad here. Now we're just going to power on by. We'll at least try to. Come across in 16th place. So overall, a pretty good gain on pit road. I was worried about those. Oh, Brad. Oh, Brad. Why you got to be like that? Shoves us out of the groove. We have to really get out of the throttle, and there is a big pack of cars that just passed us here. So pretty much exactly where we started the race now, and we lost 4 positions in that corner thanks to Brad shoving us out of the way. We'll settle behind Chase Elliott, though. Maybe he can open up some holes on the bottom for us. But once these tires start falling off, I think this is pretty much where we will settle in. We'll get into turn 3 here, and we lose right there. You can see that their center off is so much better, and when you have a terrible turn 3 and you can't get from center off, this is the part of the racetrack that it affects you the most. But we are pulling that draft. We're pulling up to Chase Elliott, and now they're pretty much single file, so we need these guys to battle amongst themselves for me to really have a chance. You can see how much further they can drive into turn 1 than we can, and we're just sliding up the racetrack off of turn 1. A little bump there by the 42 of Kyle Larson. I imagine he's going to be pretty fast. This is to maintain in the top 20, and yeah, we are just not turning at all. Pocono, you kind of set up your car for one turn to be really good, and usually turn 3 is the turn you set up for because that leads to the longest straightaway, but this car is not behaving well in any turn. And, you know, that, that pretty much kills your entire straightaway speed. But we did get a run on Larson here. Feeling pretty good. I mean, we do have good straight line speed. The temperature gauge decided to flash at us. We did pull some tape off, but with, you know, it being 105 degrees outside, it's no wonder that the engine is running pretty hot. And with this pack in front of us, you know, there's only a little bit of air going into the radiator. And, you know, that just, of course, makes the engine run really, really hot. But we're making some ground up. That was a really good turn 2 for us here. Let's see if we can get to the inside of Chase Elliott here. See if we can make a pass or make a charge. Car just does not want to pivot. We put in a lot of wheel. The car is just pushing out. Maybe I should have taken out some wedge that last pit stop as well to help all 3 turns. But man, it is just an ongoing battle here. Now the temperature gauge is staying illuminated until we get into turn 1. Man, that's a lot of wheel I got to put into this thing, and with 4 laps to go, the tire wear is only going to get worse, and these guys are running very, very quickly. We might be able to get a run here in turn 2, though. Keeping optimistic here. Let's roll. Turn 2 a little bit better. Nope, they just center off once more. They just power from center off and leave me in the dust. I just can't get any traction down. Some things to remember for the next Pocono race for sure, which will be here, back here in what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I exaggerate, of course, but the time between the, you know, the June Pocono race and like the July Pocono race, there's a few, you know, races between. There's Michigan and then the road course and then Daytona, but then we're back at Pocono. So I'm not looking forward to the return trip. Jeez, come on, car. Yeah, I cannot get any power down. I can't roll to center, can't accelerate off. I am just riding the struggle bus right here. But luckily, Ricky Stenhouse is a long way behind us. I'm content just to basically finish here in the top 20. It's better than where we started, and considering how slow we've been, I'll take this all day. Now, if these guys in front of us start getting racy and start pushing each other out of the groove, I can capitalize, but at this point, the car is just so done that I really can't make anything work. 3 laps to go, though, thankfully, here at Pocono. Put me out of my misery. We don't have to worry about the car overheating, though. We're not really trailing anybody. But yeah, you just have to be out of the gas so long in turn 1. We didn't hit the wall that time. Small goals. But I imagine our straightaway speed is leaving a lot to be desired here. I mean, if I could just reach out and touch these guys, I mean, they are right there. Only 1 second in front of us, and, you know, that's one slip up in front of the lead. Like, if that lead car in that pack slips up and checks everybody up, we're there. But we can't really seem to make a run work here. 2 laps to go. 5 miles of racing left at this 2.5 mile triangle. Yeah, so when we come back, good straightaway speed. We're great in a straight line. But these turns, I mean, we're going to have to take some wedge out or something to help this car pivot in all 3 turns, because I'm pushing like a dump truck the whole way through. Better turn 2. I mean, we're right there, and we might be actually catching Austin Dillon. If they shuffled him out here, we might have a shot at him. He's definitely slower than those cars there, and that might actually be what was holding them up, was Austin Dillon in front of these guys. And with a single file racetrack like Pocono, when you get a slow car in front of you, you know, it slows the whole line down. 1 lap to go. Still in 20th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is not within attacking range, 5.9 seconds behind. So this is pretty much where we're going to finish. Brandon's right there mixing it up with those guys, and I would have been as well, I think, had Brad not shoved me out of the groove. But 2 turns to go, the Indianapolis turn and then the Milwaukee turn, and we'll be done. Yeah, we didn't have that good of a turn 2 there. I think if we had maybe 3 or 4 more laps, well, if we had 3 or 4 more laps, we'd be back on pit road. Yeah, everyone is checking up there. If only we had a few more laps to go. But that'll do it. We will come across the line in 20th place. Pretty much our worst finish of the year by far. We finish on the lead lap though. But I mean, at Pocono, that's really not hard to do. So yeah, we'll just head back to pit road here. Be glad that this race is done. And Kevin Harvick is going to be a first-time winner, though. So good on Kevin. And he really stretched it out in front of Martin Truex Jr. there. We have Bowman, Suarez, Boyer, Logano, McMurray, the Busch brothers, and William Byron rounding out the top 10. But even they were 10 seconds back. So that is, 20% of a lap. And, nothing much we could really do, but a good result for Brandon. He stayed in front of that pack of cars there. I think we would have had something for him, but as you can see, tire wear was not our friend. We managed to finish the race on green worn tires though, but that's just trying to be over optimistic for a terrible day. So there we go, down on pit road. Let's go ahead and get out of the car and take a look though at that run. So there we go on the inside, on the outside of Brad. This is where he shoves us up the racetrack. And yeah, that's what it was. Eric Jones was looking 3 wide, and Brad just didn't see me out there, and backward we went. But let's take a look at the standings after Pocono. Kevin Harvick moves into 6th place with his win. Brad Keselowski is your cutoff driver. Kurt Busch, 8 points to the good, and then an even spread between Jamie McMurray and Chase Elliott, and a good battle. 24 points back, 25 points back, 25 points back. Chase, Stenhouse, and Hamlin have a chance to leapfrog Brad if Brad has a bad day, and Clint Boyer, can be pulled right back on the outside looking in. But that's going to do it for me in this week NASCAR Racing 2003 season. Ladies and gentlemen, like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week at Michigan. Take care.